Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here, Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you who are seasoned veterans of what we do around here. We discuss old school and current day pro wrestling and in a review format. Also, interviews upon occasion. Going to try and pick that up again in September. But anyway, we continue our World Class Championship Wrestling review series. We are going to go through the entire episodic television series, episode by episode, and we are on the July 31st edition in 1982. It's been a fun year thus far, over halfway through the year. We start with Kerry Von Erich addressing, we start with a Kerry Von Erich match. For some reason, on the network, it shows the Kerry Von Erich promo at the end of the program. Somehow at the beginning of the program. Anyway, Pete Montecross versus Kerry Von Erich. Obviously, this is a very basic matchup. The idea behind the match, simply to get Kerry ready for what amounts to a couple of weeks away when he faces Ric Flair for the NWA Heavyweight Championship. Of course, Flair in his, I believe, second reign as the world champion by this point. And Kerry, the hottest person in Texas, to challenge for the championship on the 15th of July. And this squash match is specifically intended to do what is necessary to get him ready and kind of put him in front of new faces. Nothing really major about the match, nothing really meaningful about the match. Your typical squash. Although Kerry does use the discus punch, which he later uses throughout his career, specifically in the WWF, as his finish here. He does not use the claw every time, and it's always amazing to me to see him not use the claw during this time period. We see next a very weird hat and goggled up Bugsy McGraw. He's going after Captain Frank Dusek with a very nonsensical promo, basically saying he's going to take over the world and he's all about the kids and he's all about impressing folks and doing everything he can to get even with the captain. Of course, Captain Frank Dusek, a former manager turned primarily wrestler here, and it is clear that Dusek does not want to do a whole lot in this match, as it's a very basic matchup, basic by the standards of wrestling usage. Bugsy dominates the majority of the match in terms of just this is a match meant to highlight him. This is a match meant to get him in a more over position. Not sure where the angle with David Manning goes here, as it's not really followed up on too terribly much. Bugsy, wins post an elbow drop. I mean, he does bring a bucket of water into the ring, a la Doink, about a little less than a dozen years later, but comedy spots and all of that notwithstanding, that's the idea behind the match. Magic Dragon and Great Kabuki versus Adias and Minesto up next. Gary Hart, though, a little bit disheveled here. Doesn't really speak as to much as to why, but he doesn't seem to be as confident with his team as normal. So maybe he's just looking for newer talents or something. But Kabuki and the Dragon are interrupted by Jose Lothario. Lothario making it clear that he wants to settle up with Kabuki eventually. They will do battle in the weeks and months to come, but the groundwork is set for that. Armand Hussein basically calls Jose Lothario insane for wanting to have that match, and certainly challenges his authority to have the match and make match calls. But obviously Kabuki and Dragon working together. Dragon wearing a different mask, so maybe he forgot his mask or something here. Don't really know what the deal is. Normally, Dragon wears a black mask, Black Dragon, that makes sense. But in this particular occasion, wearing a paler blue mask. The baby faces do get some decent offense. Interesting to see that they've kind of cooled off on Adias already, and that he's in a competitive match here. But it's clear that still his job is to put over Kabuki and Magic Dragon, which a few weeks ago he was competitive with just about everybody. Not that he's not competitive in this match, although not as competitive as he was with, say, Dusek a few weeks earlier, or even Bill Irwin earlier than that. So strikes and the whole modified claw nerve hold by Kabuki, karate kicks by both Kabuki and Dragon. Dragon doesn't do the best of jobs of cutting off the ring, which leads to Adias making a tag after being beaten on for several minutes here. That is, enables Kabuki and Magic Dragon to win the match. Gary Hart does re-enter the ring post the win for his team, and he is excited. Karate kicks the main offensive maneuver, which allows the heels to get their victory. Wild Bill Irwin addresses Kevin Von Erich. They are going to do battle in the weeks to come, or actually on this week's program, and he basically says Kevin is not sufficient to challenge him for the championship. A non-title bout is to take place. Kevin, of course, is the barefooted Von Erich, and he is barefoot here. Good match here. Kevin has always been a guy who, as long as you see him in smaller doses, and or he's in a tag match, you don't tire of him very quickly. Still, Bill Irwin, who can do just about everything. He can stand and brawl with you. He can fight with you. He can go in the direction of breaking down a match and working a body part. In this match, the majority of his time spent working the leg, and then Von Erich comes back and tries to work the leg and get a leg submission of his own. So very mat-based matchup. Enjoyable if you like good storytelling or body part-related storytelling, grapevines and half crabs and all of that. Primarily, Von Erich is in control of the majority of the match. Of course, by this point, Bill Irwin, having held on to the Texas Championship for a good while, head scissors takeover, which is rare to see, but Kevin's known for them, and he does one here. And again, he's looking pretty aggressive, looking pretty dominant in this stage, and by this point, obviously, the Von Erichs are not quite ready for the Freebirds. They come in 83, but you know that they're kept strong with Kabuki and Dragon quite a bit. You know that David, coming back from Florida, is coming in the next few weeks, and you really begin to look at, is Kevin destined to be the Texas champion where Kerry is the world champion? That's the thinking, I imagine, at the time. Complete body scissors by Kevin, but amazingly, Bill Irwin able to come out of the body scissors, which is rare because Kevin usually gets his victories with that maneuver, and that does not happen here. And Irwin stays with him quite a bit. Kevin does get an advantage during the latter part of the contest, and I believe this is the contest where they go to the time limit draw. Pretty sure of that. Let me just go back and check. They do slow down near the end of the match, but again, Kevin works at such a brisk pace that Irwin has to, I wouldn't say they can't keep up with him, but it's clear that Kevin, keeps the pace going, and he might have some challenging ability if a guy's not slowing him down a little bit, because he goes pretty hard out on a consistent basis. Um, but again, Bill always good with pacing the match in terms of whether it's a chin lock or a submission hold, really able to slow Kevin and Kerry to a lesser degree. They don't work together as much, down a little bit. And a monkey flip there by Kevin near the end of this contest, which you don't see much of these days. Uh, comes all the way over with a roll up, and we see Kevin get the victory with kind of a modified crazy victory roll to close this week. But that will take us into August. But until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.